Yeah, you know what it is. 140 for the rubber, busy man shit, nigga. They turn their head over, nigga. I read what Eve did to Adam. I just pray my love don't lie to me. Swing the eye like Samson, I can't let no hoe lie to me. I don't feel these rappers, all they lies is hypocrisy. Ain't no competition, ain't no rivalry. Niggas think I'm playing, I don't hear one word they saying, this shit light work. Think Muhammad one of us, he might lose his life first. Suckle up and stay alert. Another cop can stretch the nigga. He ain't demon, this an exorcism. Watch I bless the nigga. You took that oath in blood, then you know I'm gonna get active with you. From the opposition, I see vision. Let me paint the picture. Rappers can they spin, I ain't listening. Is in fact the fear. Revenge was a woman, now I scope that bitch like Jake. So I war, we gonna run the summer. It's gonna be historical. Thought they making plays, made them niggas call the audible. As who run this shit, but that question is rhetorical. Bitch, I'm the one, me cookies with the oil. I'ma get them crackers, hell, should've never kidnapped my family. I can't just do that. Bet I be the last nigga standing. Do a life sentence for my niggas, pray you understand me. I might put a switch on this Glock and call it young guy. How you real triggering on them dots? You a bird feeder, claiming he a demon. What's a demon to a cold leader? What he saying something, I ain't hear. This shit like it ain't on who got this gun, it's on who gon' up their fight first. I turn a bad situation to a game change. Bring soldiers from the dead, just raise up the chain. His shots, I'ma look like Aaron Jones when I run it. Never bite the hand that speaks, you will never get that hand back. He bitch about 10%, I don't wanna hear none of that. He dropping sword, fuck him, just make sure you get that cover back. Look around, he ain't with us, probably cause he never was. Now my chin like you with the angels for your brothers. Everybody will be Richard Porter, God kill him like Alpo. Play if he want, it's laying in the trunk like Lee Malvo. A certified woman's ass nigga, I am not a toy. Hey, I with that hollow side, yeah, this the rim of court. Feel like Gullah Jack when I'm in Fairville, you feel your boy. Still up on my brain, still I think that's all that I do. The way I get it, boy, lost, they gon' stop to call him Elroy. Fuck his game, pop out on them demons like I'm Hellboy. Yeah, 144 shit, you know what I mean? Busy man. Look, when that shit drop, you step all the way on their neck, step on their neck and their head with that shit. Fine in, I ain't show no mercy, we gon' show them boy what time it is. I pop out like I'm Samuel, I got time to give. Haters thought I died, I survived, they don't know how I did it. Got it out the mud, straight to God, they don't know how I fed. He nice, but he don't show them skills, how I show them skills. He ride, but he don't work the wheel, how I work the wheel. They mad, up to solid, circle tight, yeah, vacuum seal. No, they want my life, I ain't worried, I got rank for real. I got real soldiers, kill for me, nigga, watch yourself. They said you been in beast mode lately, you is not self. When you dropping that fire, precious marriage, they inquiring. They can't stop what's coming, but I see them conspire. Cross the line, them firing. This bitch here, finna break the spin on kindness. I don't trust you, circle small. You can keep your features. Me and my niggas don't keep no secrets. And it feel like Jeepers Creepers. Say they want some smoke, dog. Squad bro, these chimney streets. Coming like we coming, you can't even count. These niggas don't run it like we running. Bitch, don't even start. Bitch, I'm with my niggas till the end, till them do us part. If you wanna leave, you can leave, bitch. Bless your heart, fine in. I ain't show no mercy, we gon' show them boy what time it is. I pop out like I'm Samuel, I got time to kill. Haters thought I died, I survived. They don't know how I did it, got it out the mud, straight to God. They don't know how I feel. He nice, but he don't show them skills, how I show them skills. He ride, but he don't work the wheel, how I work the wheel. Oh, I got a man, circle tight, yeah, back and seal. I heard they want my life, I ain't worried, I got ready for real. Take over in effect, yeah, I'm fully focused. You might not see it on me, just know it's women, that bitch fully loaded. Yeah, we up and rolling. Told them I need major motion. Nigga, I'm joking. I'ma school them niggas like they baby Jody. Got it out the dust, now I'm too clean, don't know why they hate me. What you want out life, dog? Guns and butter, baby. See him throwing that one up with that W, that's my blood, bro. Fine in. I ain't show no mercy, I'm gonna show them boy what time it is. I pop out like a Samuel. I got time to kill. Hey, the start I died, I survived. They don't know how I did it. Got it out the gut, straight to glory. They don't know how I feel. He nice, but he don't show the skills how I show it. He ride, but he don't work the wheel how I work the wheel. Ooh, I got a man, circle tight, yeah, back and seal. Said they want my life, I ain't worried, I got ready for real. Backstage. Yeah, nigga. Fake ass nigga. You ain't no Israelite, but you a gospelite, bitch. What you talking about? If that nigga won't walk, bitch, we ready. It ain't hard to find us. Hawk, I keep that stick locked, loaded, but he'll fade you line up. Young nigga name is Slayer. What you think? Boy, you be done to try. South Coast shit, we bought it. UPK, you solid. Little bitch think I'm crazy, think I'm playing like bitch, I ain't the one. Warfare every day, so who is you, bitch? I don't need your love. Keep right mind the way. What you think? I love this brotherhood. Hood. More than you, bitch. Sharp on shit, I'm about it. UPK, too solid. Fuck nigga don't want war. It ain't enough clips in your army. All the bitches wanna take my piece. All they hoes wanna take my piece. All the nigga wanna take my piece. No, I can't let a dog take it from me. I can't let a dog take it from me. You a hoe, sonny, and you dummy. And these bitches really out this bitch walk around like they don't know nothing. And the lame nigga fall for them and get set up for the coins and get gunned down, man down. Shoulda took the time, get a damn no. But I see the starter and I swore she could never get a piece.
Yeah, shalom.
Shalom.
Right, again, this is ISUPK Trinidad and Tobago. Again, under Commanding General Yahana, right? Prison Officer Swape Ala down here in Trinidad, right? Again, as Commanding General Yahana, continue to, raise, brothers and sisters in the right spirit, right? And the right spirit is you actually being a brother, to your brother, you actually being a sister to your sister. And not just any brother or any sister, because now it's like the example of a family structure with actually go, let me say, in a broad perspective. Because now when the outside looking in and they see a family that knit and stays together, they will actually want to come and ask questions, even though they might not be part of this house or part of this family. Just as as the record say, in the sight of all the nations, so they say this is a wise and understanding people. How we become wise and understanding? Because now the spirit that we portray or carry is the spirit of our forefathers. And our forefathers again have a long legacy of, upholding, the repetition of the Lord, which is, honoring your father. And in honoring your father is following, the instructions of your father, and walking after, his instructions, and his way, because the expectation of any good father would always want to see what is, right for his children. And this is the importance of, of us, coming back to these laws, coming back to these statutes, coming back to these instructions. Because again, without, the command of righteous black men making it, their duties to bring these instructions, to the house or to the family, or to black people. And when I say black people, it covers a broad perspective of this family, because a lot of our brothers, with here we say black people and think that we speak about African people. We're not talking about no African. We're not talking about no Hamite. We're talking about the people, who, was to the point or would be raised from a low state, just like we was from the beginning. When the Most High God again breathed the breath of life into, as we say, into Adam, and bring him up from that low state, because that low state that we portray, could bring harm to our house, to our family, because we take on again the custom and the spirit of these other nations, and it was warned to us. The warning was given to us, right? And this is why it's so important, right? So we will start off with Ephesians chapter 6 and verse 12, because the importance of us understanding what we fight today is very important, right? Because sometimes we might say, I know why you're fighting, I know why up against, but how you could know you're fighting or what you're up against when actually you don't even have a clue or idea of your, let me say, of your family background. Because you the first thing on the agenda now is like you thinking that, or the way you've been taught is that, all are we is one, now is one human race, right? Which in truth and in fact, as we say, that was at a point in time in the creation, right, where the recorded that he created ye, male and female, right. So we know it has two gender in the earth, right. So any other gender outside of that, we know that we are against the works of the Lord automatically, right? And in knowing that now we were at that time, before we where we at right now, just like, as we say, what we'd say, being animal or being beasts, because when you look at, as we say, at animals, or as I say, at beasts, they don't have a king of anything.
Right.
This was male and female. But again, the Most High God always had, a structure and an order. And that structure and that order in creation was always to have, some or have one of these, as we say, male or female, or on a whole male. Everything would come, with the instructions through the male, as we said, the order passed down through this male, where he would have an order to have dominance, or to rule over again the rest of male family, or the rest of, as we say, these other nations. Because without a structure and an order, we see what's happening right now in the earth today. Everybody want power. Everybody, as we say, right, and the nice thing about this, we could go and we could read it, and we could see in our records the same thing that was happening then is the same thing happening now.
Right.
That fight for power, as we say, the many captivities that we as a family and a house were under. Again, we were the only family that these other, again, nations or races of people have an opportunity to have us, under their captives, under their rulership, in their tenure or in their time of ruling, and without, the knowledge or the truth of this, again, our spirits would be entangled. And this is why it's so important for us to know our history and to know our records, right? So when you have a ticket, yeah, it on. Yeah.
The book of Ephesians, chapter 6 and verse 12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places.
And why again, it's so important to understand that, because now we see where our fight is. And in light of that, just as Commander General Yana say, brothers and sisters coming through these doors, and sitting and filling up these seats, and them, any brother, that who came through those doors and are in this school at present should be a brother to them, should be, again, a sister to the sisters, right? Because the Lord always, again, as a father, he always give us a shot, of that way back. He always give us that opportunity to change, or to turn away from, the things that could harm us. And by doing so, he always put in place, the men, as scriptures or records mention, they were men that had not, bent a knee to any other god, to Baal, to these false gods. And again, the time that we are in right now, the season, everything, we just do it in I'd say in seasonal times, because we know around this time that our people would be caught up, in the custom, or the ways of the heathen. And in being caught up in those customs and in those ways, we tend to lose that sense of focus, and our spirit get entangled in their affairs. This is why we have a lot of our brothers, being unalive, being members of illegal activity, which black man, as we say, own any shipping, position on the ports and them. Which black man could have the access to bring in things that when it reached through, as we say, customs and duties, that they would just skip over that. There's always a network again, and it goes again a long way to show you that when these things happen, it shows you that these other families stick together. And this is why when we remind our family, when they see black people coming together, again, as you say, these 12, brothers, the sons of, the sons of Jacob, or the sons of Israel, when they see, this house, start to, cling, or as say, cleave to one another, look to one another for any assistance or any aid, they would have problems. This is why when we look at what's taking place right now here in Trinidad, they would always, mention, the concern. And every time, as we say, the former PM, would be brought up, him and, our brother, from the tribe of Asher. When these men names are being, called or being brought to the light, they would always have, issues and problems, because now it's like these two men now, it is like they have a sense of, or we say a brotherhood in let me say in how they agree or come to terms with certain things, right? And their way would always be to see the let me say the best interests the people. And a lot of people will say, and this is why we say we don't deal with politics, right? We're making it clear. The reason why we're making it clear now, because now it is like a lot of, again, what we fight, just as we read here, we this is something that every day our spirit yearn and yield for. Because the things of the flesh, we know it will consume you in a minute. And without having the right spirit, these things, could be, as we say, a snare to us, right? And as we see, these men and them, had that communication, a lot of, let me say, as we say, the heathens would always have an issue, always have a problem. And because we, as a family, as we say, we were warned not to, get involved with as we say, that with the nations that are wrong about us. By getting involved with the nations that are wrong about us, we start to take up the customs and the way. So now what will happen to us? Now, as we say, our spirit is entangled with their ways. We might look to them and say, well, he's a good one, and she's a good one. I'm talking about the heathen and them. They portray, certain qualities. And again, if anybody, following again all that is taking place right now in Trinidad, a lot is on the horizon right now. And imagine, the heathen portraying or demonstrating who they are boldly, just as they did in many of our captivities. And we now being, as we say, in the midst of their, let me say, dominancy, for greed, for power. Now, the only, as we say, person or the only one who we can turn to is the Most High. And if we, again, don't understand how dedicated it means to really trust in the Lord, now is the time that we tell brothers and sisters to seek out the truth. And this is why, this platform is very important as well. Because the enlightenment or the awareness of bringing this truth to our brothers and sisters is of utmost need and very important right now. And we'll continue on, because just like the men before us did, our forefathers, the prophets are old, just like they did before, right? Bring the warning in every major captivity that we were in. There was always, a remnant who the Lord had to make sure that these reminders was brought to the people, to bring a sense of comfort, to bring a sense of aid, to revive their spirit. Because without your spirit being revived, now what would happen to us now? Now we would be entangled with the affairs and the customs of these other nations, right? So this is why it's important for us, right? So you can read over Ephesians 6 and verse 12 from the Bible, right?
Book of Ephesians, chapter 6 and verse 12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood.
Right. So it says that we wrestle not against flesh and blood. What is again the flesh that we wrestle not against? Because again, everything here is self-explanatory. Because when you read on now, it will show you, what we come up against, right? So now we know for the fact that This fight ain't no, as we say, no fist fight.
Right.
This fight ain't no fight that will draw blood.
Right.
Because that happens all the time. What we are warring right now, we are Rasta and Muslim warring right now.
Right.
We are a lot of we have a lot of these as we say, all brothers and getting involved or getting caught up in a lot of, let me say, gang violence, as we say, black and black crime. Right? So we know for a fact that this ain't no flesh and blood fight here. Right? Right?
Okay.
Go ahead.
But against principalities, against powers.
Right? Look up the word principalities. So again, and this is the again why it's so important to really understand and know who we are, know what we come up against.
Okay.
Because a lot of these customs or ways that we come up against, we could be so easily swayed or persuaded by the ways or the customs of the heathen, right? And this is why when it mentioned but against, so now it's going to make it known what we are going against, right? So that's why I say but against, so it make it clear, right? It's not no hand fight, as we say, or no, as we say, or unaliving or anybody, because this happening, right through. This happening all now.
Right.
But against, right? Right? So you get it?
Okay.
Right.
Principalities. 1. The state office or authority of a prince. B. The position or responsibilities of a principal, for example, as of a school. 2. The territory or jurisdiction of a prince, the country that gives title to a prince. 3. Principalities, plural, an order of angels.
Right. So you see again, it's like the definition bringing it with a little more insight on what principalities is, right? Because now imagine a ruler or a prince, just as we see right now, just as we see, you can put on this one too now, so it go blow up here now. Babu question. Yeah, it's a while, right? So imagine a prince, having a say over territories, right? And this is what we see being demonstrated right now. Because now, who at this point in time, as again, our records notified and highlighted some where being out of the truth, we wouldn't even know this is what actually happening right now. Because it's like we living in the earth right now, and we don't know that wicked people ruling.
Right.
How we can know wicked people ruling in the earth? Because you know why? It recorded, as we say, everything that we do, as the scripture say, write it in a book. The instructions inside the book. I think is Job 9 and 24, 8 and 24.
Right.
Wait, say the earth is what is given into the hands of the wicked. It covereth the faces of the judges thereof. We see a lot of the people, black people on a whole, judges faces covered in the earth right now. Because to come up or to speak against, as we say, the prince or the principalities that be, they would rather take a side than stand or be dedicated or understand what it means to serve the Lord, who is the, as we say, the creator of every being, as we say, every human being, every nation, every race, and setting up a structure and an order. Because they're ruling, or they as we say, they're the ones who, as we say, who rule or being prince over what territory, they would call whatever, shots they feel to, right? Because again, as I said, the earth is given to the wicked. So imagine you doing that, and you trying to, bring, this place, to a place of where there would be no, as you say, no censor, or what we call a man being able to move freely, right? So,
Right.
as they say, but against what? Principalities, go ahead.
Against powers.
Right, against powers. Who are these powers? The ones who are in authority, the ones who, who overseeing all the affairs right now in very, as we say, these very set places that we would seek, for that aid or that assistance. These again, these powers have, the authority, to call or to sanction whatever shots they feel at this time. Right? Go ahead.
Against the rulers of the darkness of this world.
And it even clear it up a little more. Because now we see who in charge at present. Just as again in Job, the earth is given into what? Into the hands of the wicked. So these people, or as we say, the nation or the race of people that is ruling right now, they are what? They are rulers, right, of darkness in this world. They make, as we say, they make this place a place where we would everyone would be in a sense of confusion, because right now is like you're unsure what would take place.
Right.
Now, I even say tomorrow. Now, imagine you living in a you're unsure what will take place, and you growing up again in customs and ways, and you only when you reach the point, as you say, the point of understanding, now where you're looking and you're seeing. Imagine your mind come to the point, it's like, hey, I don't know what happened now. But again, know this, to understand, who we are, and the family line that we come from. We come from a family that know that, being dedicated to the Lord, our strength, or as you say, our ways, as you say, our everyday life depends on that. Because now, again, just as our King say, don't pray to me, but pray to who? Pray to the Father. It's like he giving up, making it known to us that there's a superior higher than him, who still has care for his creation. And to know what we come up against right now, or what is in, I would say, in I would say, in this time right now, is totally, against these records. This is why they would sit again in this seat or this position, because now it's like this. We're reading out of our records, reading about these other nations, reading about their families, their structure. and what their intentions are towards us. And we will read, again, just in a short time, shortly, of what we go through from that time, and we would see the example of the same thing happening today. And our dedication should always be, to the Lord. And again, is a reminder to us again and again, the school location, is number 1 Morris Street, Point Fortin, right? Just a reminder, the brothers and sisters, December 14th, right? Sundown, we will be, inviting brothers, to come on down to the school, right? Again, eats and drinks would be provided, right? Come, bring the kids, bring your family, right? Where, we would be, again, reading out of our records and, being reminded that around this time that, brothers stood for, the rebuilding of what the heathen tore down, what they brought into the temple, what they, did, in, as we say, in years of, family planning and, family building. They destroyed it, within, as we say, a short space of time. And as we read Ephesians here, is a reminder to tell brothers that, these are the things that we would come up against. We'd come up against the principalities, we'd come up against the powers, we'd come up against the rulers in darkness, of this world, in this timing. Right? Go ahead.
Okay. Against spiritual wickedness in high places.
Right? And against spiritual wickedness in high places. Everything that, that is highlighted above is the spirit that these heathens would carry, would portray. Just like we, as a family, we have a vibe, we have a spirit, and it is, it is something that we should seek out to understand more about our spirit and our vibe. Their spirit is wickedness. Their spirit is, I'd say, to be deceptive. Their spirit is lying. Their spirit is to come up against the structure of the Lord. And our spirit is to do what? Is to tear it down. And when I mean tear it down, to make known to our family or this house, this is what we would face every day.
All right.
As we traverse to and fro, as we say, as we move back and forth amongst these other nations, amongst these other people. So it's not like, they'll go be discarded. At present, where we are right now, we are amongst them. We fight daily, as we say, we fight daily to stop do drugs. We fight daily to make it known to our sisters that, hey, don't have the abortion. This is what we fight daily. We fight daily to not unalive or to destroy the lives of our brothers, to destroy the lives of family. This is what we fight daily. Where did we, as you say again, learn or pick up this way or those customs? From whom? From these as you say, these heathens and them. So it is important for us to do what? To make ourselves, very, educated to the point where our education is not, just being puffed up or being, prideful, but our education should be to revive, or to rejuvenate the spirit of our brothers and sisters.
Right.
Just like we will revive and rejuvenate our spirit be, as you say, being dedicated to something that exists from way before and still existing even till today, right? So again, this is a reminder to us, right? What's not bad? That's not bad. Come on, that's what
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Shalom. Shalom is just holding on until the officer swap y'all come back, right? And as you was talking about it, we have to understand as a people that it is very important for us to know and to understand the time that we're in. You understand? As we are just reading the what we're fighting against is not flesh and blood, but principalities and powers. You understand? Some might feel this fight is just between, blood, flesh and blood. But it's not that. It's more deeper than that, more darker than that, because we have to understand the things that was fed to us from generation to generation. You understand? From our great grandparents coming right down to us now. If we're not careful, we will not feed that same thing to our children also. You understand? And in order for us to break that generational curse, we have to understand what is being given to us, what is being fed to us. And that is why we always say, when you look at the Christian church, for example, you had the next mic, come on. Right. When you look at the Christian church, for example, they're supposed to be the ones that feeding us the correct things, giving our people, you understand, what the Lord requires from us. But they ain't doing that. Christian church religious leaders, they're filling up the pockets, filling up the belly, you understand, making sure that they're good, they're secure, and all is well with them. Right? Give me Hosea chapter 4 and verse 6, Bible Kusha. Because as the officer bringing out the, when we look at what's happening in the world today, you understand? If our people don't understand such basic things, then we wouldn't realize or we wouldn't understand who we're fighting against. You understand? When you haven't read Bible Kusha.
Come. The book of Hosea, chapter 4 and verse 6.
Mm-hmm.
My people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge.
My people are what?
My people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge.
And these are some of the basic things that the Christian church is supposed to be teaching our people. You understand? Showing that our forefathers had already prepared to the Spirit of the Most High for us to understand that we are going to be destroyed for lack of knowledge. You understand? Right now in 2025, just as the officer bringing out the read, say we wrestle not with flesh and blood. You understand? But people on the outside will be thinking, yeah, this is our gun, picking up guns and arms, and we're going out and fight the oppressor. There's something different to the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indian man, because we don't have the understanding. You understand? We don't have the knowledge. The Lord is telling us that we are destroyed for what? Lack of knowledge. Go ahead.
Come. Because thou hast rejected knowledge.
And because we reject knowledge, it's not just knowledge of knowing how to build a car or how to build a house or stuff like that. You understand? What the prophet's talking about is you understanding who you are. These basic and simple steps. You understand? Understanding who Christ is, understanding who the Most High is, understanding your heritage, understanding what your forefathers stood for. You understand? And if you understand what your forefathers stood for, just like the East Indians do and the Chinese and the Syrians, they understood what their foreparents stood for, and that is why they continue along with their traditions, with their culture, and the way that they live. You understand? But because we were sold something different, telling us that we were Africans, you understand? And we don't know we homeland and all these basic things, we hold on to the way that was fed to us by the oppressor. When all these other nations, they have their culture, they have their way, they have their customs, and making sure and keep up with the Diwali and Pagwan and all these different things. You understand? Now, when we understand who we are, then no more we will be destroyed for that lack of knowledge. So now we start holding on to our high holy days, just as the officer bringing out, we had the Feast of Hanukkah coming up. Then you'll understand why we keeping the Feast of Hanukkah, the Feast of Dedication. Right after that, the Feast of Purim. Why we keeping these things? All these high holy days and feast days, they have a meaning. They have a way. You understand? They have a way for we to understand why we just keep them things. The Passover. Instead of we celebrating Easter with bunnies, Passover is around that time, but you had to understand, you had to get that knowledge, you had to know how to traverse. There are many things that will be destroyed of for the lack of knowledge, but we're talking about biblical principles, basic biblical principles now. You understand? Because the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, this is a school for the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man to come and learn. And they don't come and learn, they don't start going to school and you start getting a book from quite up in standard 5 or secondary. Nah, you're hitting it from preschool, basics. You understand? What is the basics? What color Christ is? What color is the prophets? You understand? Basics, and then you start going up. Then you will start understanding about preachers and leaders and politicians. And just as we read them, start understanding about principalities and powers. This is the school for the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man. To come back, sir, here. Pass it back over to police officer. So up here.
Right. So, again, what also Matt Quag bringing out again, again, it is very, imperative and very informative, especially as you see in the time that we are in right now, right? So, let me yeah, the little article, right? So what we're going to do, we're just going to read that little article of everything that is taking place right now here in Trinidad, right? And for brothers and sisters online, again, remember you could type in your questions, you can leave your questions on the inbox, right? You could message us, right? You could call the number, again, the number coming across the screen, right? Again, there's numbers again that can reach out to, right? The aid and the assistance, is there for brothers and sisters, who would seek it out, that aid and that assistance is there, right? Because the provision that that is being made, is not, what we again is a reminder. This is not your Christian church. This is not your mosque, right? It's like just like your preacher would be on the pulpit, right? And he wouldn't even remove himself, because who he could entrust to come up and let me say holy forth and carry the same mindset, or be a brother. Who you call? You call a Chinese? You call a East Indian? Say who you call? From Tumbuk, from down in Africa, to do what? To incite or to lead the people astray, just like again, like they continue to do. No, this is why the Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge under Commanding General Yana has men, officers, captains, generals, right? Even though I call it is like the structure, like generals, captains, officers, troopers, and with that structure and that order was always, something that all forefathers, as well demonstrated and kept that order, because of what? To know what we will come up against. For fighting against, as you say, the principalities, against the powers, right? Against the rulers. Because without that, just what would happen to us? Just like, again, the brother brought out, he said, my people are destroyed for what? For lack of knowledge. Right. We lack that outside of the truth. We lack that outside of the truth. A man could never say that, he was in the truth and he lack it. You could have how much of this in this, anytime you remove yourself, you lack it. Because it would not have been, as we say, recorded in our history, in these writings, in these teachings, that our people is destroyed for that. You leave a house, or as you say, that saying down, as you say, having a discussion about going about every day, or I would say our daily lives, and I would say the Lord being the head, to go to what? To sit down on that stone, on that rock. My people, I just say, it is destroyed for what? For lack of knowledge. Because and again, even reading a little further, I say because we reject it.
Right.
How could we reach a point in rejecting that? Because you know why? Because something in our spirit we fight daily. So that's examine yourself daily to see what? To see in the faith, to see in the right mindset.
Right.
As we say, the ships in the, as we say, in the Caribbean Sea. They say that the sea in the Caribbean Sea. So in not just one, as you say, one Caribbean island in the Caribbean Sea. So like the ship, it stretched the whole Caribbean. Imagine you just and say in the Caribbean. That is just, and everybody mentioning, hey, that ship real big, that ship had to be real big. We need to be reminded daily of what is going to face us in a short time. And as again, it said, it is high time that we what? That we wake up out of sleep. Black people, Hispanic people, Native Indian people, or as we say, first people. We are family. We are a house that needs to understand that, in being dedicated to something, we need to be reminded that, this is how this house would be rebuilt, because there were men before us that understood what it means to be dedicated, or what it means to hold fast to these laws, statutes, and commandments, to hold fast to these instructions, to know the importance of it, right? And this is, in accordance to the foundation that was laid before us, that was built on something, on the rock that would not be moved. This is important to us, right? So, read with it. We have a Bokasha.
Come. This is the Trinidad and Tobago Express, and the headline reads, U.S. radar designed for war, not drug ops.
So imagine, as we say, something that is being set up right now, and they didn't even try to water it down. They just be direct. And this is something that we should understand. In everything that we do, we must be direct. By watering it down, it causes, again, a lot of uncertainty. And being uncertain, this is the reason, a lot of these, as we say in previous classes before, in what is taking place, you'd see a lot of these, as we say, defense force personnel always saying, like, there was unaware, they didn't have no clue of what is taking place. What is happening right now is war is on the brink. Is on the brink. And just like Commandant General Yana, again, join Commandant General Yana, 9 p.m. tonight, right? That 9 p.m. will be Eastern Standard Time, right? Again, right now daylight savings is in progress, right? So that'll be 10 p.m. Trinidad local time or Caribbean time, right? So there are certain, I believe Jamaica probably kind of the same time as there right now, but 10 p.m. if you're in Trinidad, and you want to get insight on what is going, what is, as you say, the current news or what is taking place, especially right now in America, because the people who are in America right now engage straight, they engage direct. They try to water it down here, just like as we say, our Prasad does, because that is spirit that you carry. This is why, again, the scriptures, our records is always right. Because if you can't fight against that, what will happen? You adopt it. You'll take it up, take on the custom, take on the ways, right? So this radar is set up for war. Go ahead.
Kamunkan, there is already a fully functional and effective marine radar surveillance system monitoring the waters of Trinidad and Tobago.
Right. So in doing that, everything that is set up as a safe for war. So now, why they would have this, and this is questions that people asking. Why again you want to monitor again the waters at Trinidad and Tobago? Go ahead.
Kamunkan, and the radar now being manned by U.S. military in Tobago is a battlefield-grade system designed for war and not for counter-narcotics.
So one time it eliminates and show you that the personnels who would be overseeing or over looking the affairs of what is being set up isn't nobody or resident or from the defense force or from the minister homeland security or the minister national security or the commissioner of chief police. It isn't any one of these, as we say, local, authoritative figure who is overseeing that. They would not be aware of as you say, of any intel because why? They have no affairs over it. And again, it show you just like what we read concerning principalities. This prince who oversees or overlook any territory or any area or zone that is being deemed his possession, all shots will be called or given by him. And this is why we could see the airspace. Imagine the air. You want to lock down the air. Space is where everybody utilizes it. And a lot of, as I say, again, and, for people who would look at the as I say, the geographic, or the geography in aviation, where a lot of these pilots would use that space to traverse to go to, let me say, to Panama, right? That airspace is an airspace that would always be utilized, because to go to Panama, even let me say to access certain parts are the Americas, right? There is one, that zone would be one of the most fly or aviation zone where it would be utilized. Because you must pass over, I believe, Caracas. Must pass through that zone. So imagine flying to Panama to access South America right now, or even on your way from here to let me say, to go to Jamaica, to go to to Houston. That when you look at the fly zone, most of the time the pilot would make that turn and head direct that direction. So imagine what route is being taken right now. So what we're seeing right now is as you say, is being set up right now in the Caribbean is war. And just as you brought out in the article, this is what this device is set up for. Not no narcotics or not no any illegal or illicit drug activity. This is set up for war. Right? Go ahead, there's some more?
Come. This is according to retired Lieutenant Commander Norman Dindial, a former military commander who once ran Trinidad and Tobago's own coastal surveillance. The presence of the newly installed radar in the country could require accompanying defensive weapons, such as surface-to-air and surface missile systems, or manned portable air defense systems, portable shoulder launchers, surface-to-air missiles, to be situated nearby, raising concerns that the island could become a potential target as tensions surge within the Southern Caribbean, according to Dindial.
So imagine I just say you could put a launcher right on your shoulder here, and you could because we something could bust out the now. And what should that radar set up in Tobago?
Okay.
So it just shows again that everything that is being done is like, and we must put it in this way. The majority or predominantly, let me say, where black people is basically down on let me say south side. The rest of our brothers and sisters again is basically in the midst. So it's like yeah. It's like, well, look at it, take out down there, because where the majority of our Asherite brothers and sisters is as well. This is why when we do the history, when we talk about about Maruga, about the trail, and Princess Tongue, and Indian Walk. These is where our brothers, as we say, the native indigenous people as well, Asha, they always used to traverse those zones. Again, this is a reminder for us, right? So again, we go yeah more on that or you talk about that?
Yeah, that's all.
All right, go ahead, read out.
Come on. The system spotted in Tobago at the A.N.R. Robinson International Airport last week amid a flurry of U.S. Marine flights originating from Cherry Point, Carolina, and reportedly reaching the sister isle is believed to be an ANTPS-80 or Gator engineered for missions far more complex than routine maritime interdiction, Dindial said. The manufacturer, Northrop Grumman, describes the Gator as a long-range, high-performance pulse dropper radar that can provide 360-degree air surveillance, air defense, and counter-fire, neutralizing enemy weapons, target acquisition.
Yeah.
Last Wednesday, Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar had not acknowledged the presence of the U.S. Marines in Tobago, stating that they were there to help the country with roadway. By Thursday, she admitted that they were also there to help install a radar on the island, further claiming that Trinidad and Tobago's existing radar capability was inadequate. She said the system would provide real-time monitoring of the nation's air and sea space and described it as a critical asset in the fight against crime and narco-trafficking. But Dindial, who was himself once the director of the country's National Coastal Surveillance Radar Center, said the country's current system is an Israeli-sourced $50 million system purchased by the former administration, is fully capable of detecting marine movement and is highly sophisticated. He said that that system allowed Trinidad and Tobago to see go-fast boats and vessels moving around the country, though it did not necessarily allow the country to perform interdictions without adequate Coast Guard resources to do so. Further to this, he said, the Gator system, a battle-grade system, looks at airspace and flying solutions, picking up targets moving through airspace at the speed of sound, including missiles and military aircraft. He called the Prime Minister's statement that it was to be used for maritime surveillance and counter narcotic movements incredulous, Salakia, as its primary function is for air surveillance, air defense, and not for maritime or vessel traffic. It can pick up targets moving at Mach 1 or Mach 2, which is faster than the speed of sound. This is just one piece of the puzzle, he said. According to Dindial, the Gator radar system is likely not intended to aid U.S. warships in the region that are typically equipped with their own advanced monitoring system, but is being used by the U.S. The radar would extend its far-reaching detection capabilities in the midst of its military campaign in the Caribbean and mounting pressure on Venezuela. Dindial comments come as the U.S. has carried out at least 21 lethal strikes on alleged drug-carrying vessels in the region in recent weeks against targets it claims that are linked to Venezuela and other regional traffic groups and cartels. The strikes have thus far killed 82 people with no evidence shared.
So this radar again that is set up, and again, they having, that, as you say, that vessel in the Caribbean, and just like I mentioned before, it's not just it's all the islands. So that detection is let me say stretched out through the islands. Because imagine, you know, as he mentioned, you know, the one that we have is fully functional.
Okay.
And it can detect, you know, everything that is going on around the island. The only reason why, you know, that some of these things, you know, would be, you know, not, let me say, reach to a particular timing is because of the equipment that the country doesn't have. So you might have boats, let me say, in the Gulf, but let me say to more, let me say, eastward, it don't have nothing functioning. Because imagine to make the rounds, it'd be a time, even let me say, to the points that we have. So basically, you know, the radar that we have is fully equipped, as he mentioned. And you know, again, this is important for us as a people to know, right? And and again, who is the watchman at that time? And he, I said, in the Lal or Hal, or you know, as his name mentioned.
Okay.
So they train their people, you know, in every field of, you know, how to go about, you know, in monitoring certain things. Why, like, again, a black or Latino or Native Indian wasn't entrusted with this? Because again, this war that's coming in a short space of time, they would feel that effect. Because a lot of them, you know, have businesses. This is why they would come out and talk about it. A lot of them own a lot of these franchise, a lot of, you know, functional, you know, business that could be affected with anything that would take place. This is why they would talk about it. How, you know, imagine bringing out this intel, this information, clear, because clear, the article clear. No, it's like he learn, you know, he people know, hey, they can't fool nobody. We know what you're doing, but it's like I want to tell you in the background, hey, don't do that. It could affect all the business. But not knowing, again, the Lord is the one. The scripture said the Lord will raise up Pharaoh, that he could do what? He could demonstrate his power in the earth. He pump him up with pride. All we see is a person with a lot of pride right now. And in the midst of that, now what we had to do, we had to bring that one into our brothers and sisters, right? We had to bring that one into this house, to this family, and to understand that, hey, when, again, the heathen and them in this mode, we should be aware. Yeah, go down of Sam, Michael.
Yeah, so that yes, sir. And a way for, you know, it's so true, right? Because just as it was saying before, right? Now this is a heathen, right? And he is saying that when he was the former commander of the Coast Guard before, right? And imagine he reached the state where he had to come out in the media, right? Because it's like just as I bring out with Pharaoh, right? He own people trying to tell him, hey, like you're going mad. You understand? Because he is coming out against his own people. You understand? Because in other words, they say like, hey, we have a mad leader.
Right.
And just as they bring out, if this is the time for blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians to take note.
Right.
Because if their own people say, hey, this leader we have here, man, we should stay clear, understand, of these leaders that the ties that make it with one another.
Right.
Understand? And he now, in a sense, has become afraid, just that's what they're saying, because now they're studying all the assets, all the things that they have could be could be totally destroyed by this impending war with Venezuela.
Right. And
Right.
Yeah. So I like give it up. Again, this is why again the information, is very important. And again, everything, is so timely now, and reminding, this house or this family, and again, tell brothers and sisters here down in Trinidad, the Lord has provided, a place where brothers and sisters, could come and learn this truth. You have opened up, the airwaves where brothers and sisters could tune in, and listen, again, every Tuesday from 7 p.m. right to 8, right? We'll be on the street 91.9 FM, right? Where the ISUPK under commanding General Yahana, we have brothers, on the platform, right? Myself, Christian Officer Soapiala, right? Officer Matwayak, right? Again, and brothers would be filtering, on the station, so expect, brothers from the school, to see brothers' faces, from time to time on this on the radio program. Again, we'll be live, on the platform of the Street 91.9, even live on ISUPK Trinidad and Tobago pages, right? So the Lord is opening up, the airwaves, just as we the school, in our prayers we ask, and we see that just like forefathers, seek out the Lord, the men in the truth, under command of General Yana, being brought up in that spirit, we seek the Lord out, and we ask the Lord, to bring our brothers, from the tribe of Asher, let them come to the school. And if you're listening from the tribe of Asher, right, there's a school location, here in Point 14, right? Numbers are coming across the screen. Feel free to reach out the number. Again, we have an upcoming food and clothing drive, right? Which will be posted on all pages for brothers and sisters to come on through, right? And again, this is how a family or a house being brought to a place of of non-existence could be rebuilt in the right spirit, in the right frame of mind, and by overcoming the principalities, by overcoming the powers that are rulers that oversee the darkness or the wickedness of this society, of this world. And the Lord again always like or mention that that remnant that the Lord have, and being chosen by the Lord to carry out this duty and this function, as men walking in this truth, we should always seek the Lord now to always be used as as a right example, right? Because again, we have the records before us. We have see examples before us, and what we're going to read out of, right? So we go to First Maccabees, right? And we start chapter 1. We mightn't finish the chapter, but this is something that we will be reading about, from now probably until in the time where the feast of dedication would be, again, December 14th, the feast of dedication, again, come on down to the school, right? Wherever you are, find yourself, in that school, right? Nearest you, right? Blacks, So for blacks, Latinos, and Native Indians, right? Because again, to know your history and to know the truth, here is the only place you'd find it. We see, a lot of our brothers, again, who were functioning, and when I say functioning, they were active to the point where they took up the spirit of these other nations and joined them and leave the truth. This is why we see a lot of these groups, and just like, the men above us, General Gemma Hyman, will bring out again a very informative and very, good, or all Gemma Hyman, all the general classes, and then, there's be the direct on point captains, brothers who teach it, right? But, to understand and to know to have a good insight of, a family being separated and being brought back, and knowing, the place or the position that how we would look at, two brothers being, destroyed by the customs and the ways of society that could infiltrate us in many different ways. We should, be mindful that the Lord always had, as we say, a pathway back for us, and that pathway will take, us dropping that pride, that as we say, that proudness, and knowing that, hey, this is who we are. You see, again, it's no longer, Judah shall vex Ephraim, and no longer Ephraim shall vex Judah. And why it mentioning, because at that time, who was in Jerusalem, as we say, we identify Jew just means short for Judah, right? Or the Jews was Judah, Benjamin, and again the tribe of Levi, part of, because Levi was they uphold that priesthood. Ephraim and his, I would say, and his fellows, these is I would say, or native indigenous people, I would say the Hispanic people or Latino people, right? Part of again, Levi was in the midst, the priest was in the midst of them. That didn't say that, some of these tribes weren't still there, because the scripture I mentioned, Anna from the tribe of Asher, so it had brothers from the other, tribes there, because imagine, as we say, Paul teaching, as we say, he mentioned, being, this brother to the Gentiles who were there at that time. They were still brothers functioning, or there at that time. So when we think, as we say, these break off on them, this is why as we say, scripture identify them as vagabond Jews. They didn't sit down and finish, listen the correction, as we say, or be corrected on everything, or how to go about in speaking. And again, it had a charge. It say, woe be unto the pastors that lead this flock astray. What we're going to read about here in the book of First Maccabees, right, is just before our king came on, as we say, in his short time. Because when, again, the records mention whether you're Jew or whether you're Greek, this was the time where, you know, the heathen pursue in, as we say, in the overthrow of Jerusalem, where they would filter in, as we say, in Jerusalem during the time, as we say, of our king, where the heathen and them were, as we say, were let me say, lavishly traversing through our homeland, where these 12 tribes will be reside. They were predominantly, or they were taken over by the heathen because of what? Because of us moving away from the instructions of God, right? So who have it?
Okay. The book of First Maccabees, chapter 1 and verse 1. And it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Chittim, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and Medes, that he reigned in his stead, the first over Greece.
Right. So this we're reading about here again is, you know, is history, right? And when we go back, even in the time, in the time of, you know, let me say, the men before us, prophets are old, you know, you would see some of these names and them being highlighted in books like, you know, like Daniel, like Jeremiah, like Ezekiel. You know, we see some of these names and them being mentioned, right? And it these names were names of you know, prominent, you know, heathen or men at that time who would seek out, you know, territorial grounds of ruling or having control over, you know, that society or over society at that time. And many of the times, or all of, I mean, all of the times that they would, you know, they would you know, overthrow or have that tenure rulership over the earth, the world at that time would be, you know, through, you know, the Lord giving them the opportunity, because every prophet would go before sometime, you know, and we see it, the example where, you know, Daniel breaking down, you know, this to Nebuchadnezzar and letting him know, hey, this time, I think that many prophets are men before, you know, talking to some of these rulers, even in the time Esther, where you know, Mordecai would bring, you know, and make it known to the king or who had ruled at that time. So many of these you know, men, or we say these heathens that would have, you know, that power, authority over the prophets or the men who the Lord chose, would always, you know, make known, you know, that this is what would take place, and it is all again highlighted in our records. So at this time we see, you know, the reign of Alexander, right? And it give you a breakdown from his family, right? He would be, you know, at that time over, you know, this time or this 10-year ruling, right? Go ahead.
Come. Verse 2. And made many wars.
And do what?
And made many wars.
Go ahead.
And won many strongholds, and slew the kings of the earth.
Right. So now again and again, why is being showed or being brought out here is what we would see happening today. we would see again men that would be raised up from that same family line. The Edomites, the Moabites, the Ammonites, I would say the Hamites. We would see many of these men. Right now, everybody running down. Who's the African? Who's the Hamite down in Africa? Everybody want to go down and meet. Some of we brothers, we want to go down and meet Traore. What Traore? Right now, Traore doing wherever his name is. He trying to unify people down there. Right. We the hell you want to go down there for? And anybody who calling and identifying yourself as African, no problem, is African. We not trying to. You want to convert. Them ain't what you convert. Them letting you know is a cotton picker. So if you feel you can go down there with as you say. And they'll eat you. them Hamite, them just eat people. Then you know straight. When you as you say when you on the missing list, because you feel you get as you say how they say a free ride back to the motherland. When you're on the missing, when they come up on the missing list, you already know. This is just a warning. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 3. And went through the ends of the earth, and took spoils of many nations, insomuch that the earth was quiet before him, whereupon he was exalted, and his heart was lifted up.
And you see this part here? This is what is going to take place. And this is the mindset of wicked being ruled, or wicked men ruling. As it mentioned, and it say that he went and went through the ends of the earth and took spoils of many nations. Right?
Come.
This is what, as we see our process is heading to do, to destabilize a people, to destabilize a nation, to destabilize the tribe of Asher. Because what you want down there, you want the resources. You want the, I'd say the goal wasn't enough where brother in I'd say in the UK, and the family enjoying it. I know enough. Still one more. Still what I would say, still one more. Right? This is who this house, this family is, and this is part of that family we're reading about. Right? Go ahead.
Come. Verse 4. And he gathered a mighty, strong host, and ruled over countries and nations and kings, who became tributaries unto him.
So now again, it's set up. We spread in a vast way. Yeah, no place in set up. Because for you to have, a mighty strong host, right? And to have rule over these countries. We see in the example right here. We just read an article where one thing was mentioned first, then it tell it to in the article it said that to upgrade the from the current, radar system. We upgrade. 1 minute was a fixed rule. It's a rule and say rule in it.
Come on.
Hey. Again, bro, tell you how I was shy, for the men before us, Commander General Yana, the truth, to revive, brothers' spirit, to make or to enlighten brothers the importance of, of us, where we should be right now, right? This is important to us, right? Shy, you have it too? Shy, if you had the no, not the article. Who's Maccabees? Yeah, but they can read that a little bit too. You can pick up from where you leave off. Right.
First Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 5. He shut them up, therefore, in the towers, and encamped against them.
Verse 5.
Can.
Like first or second Maccabees.
First Maccabees.
Yeah. Chapter 1 and verse 5.
Can.
Read Lamé.
First Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 5. He shut them up, therefore, in the towers.
Sure. Check it out.
First Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 5. And after these things, he fell sick.
What verse you are reading from there? Chapter 5. You're trying to, you're jumping ahead. No sweat. Go ahead.
First Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 5. And after these things, he fell sick and perceived that he should die.
Right. So after all of this, again, and this is a very good example that why we should not follow the way or learn, as scripture says, learn not the way of the heathen. Because they're as we say, what the spirit that they portray or to make, oh brother, we have one life to live. Live your life. And I think that I think it's Wisdom of Solomon or one of these where we say, come, let we live the life today. Live all we could do, and enjoy yourself. There would be a point in time where you would grow to as we say, the majority of us, if we follow these instructions, and as scripture say, we know that is not the end. That is not the end. But they, in their mind, they would do all they could do in their power, and in all they could do in their power, they still want to, have it in their mind that, hey, yeah, we will live forever, and their living forever is greed. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 6. Wherefore he called his servants, such as were honorable and had been brought up with him from his youth, and parted his kingdom among them while he was yet alive.
Right? So, and again, all of this, again, you get that breakdown, in after the reign of Alexander, right? You would see where in the book of Daniel, I believe, right? where it show you that a lot of these, you know, when you talk about the I think it's the seven heads and the 10 horns, all of that you're going, it will go into now, right? Because again, all this was basically in around the same time, but just let me say within that period, let me say just years probably could be separate, but it's like this happened like what we might talk about something that happened last year, right? And bring it to remind us that hey, this took place at that particular time. So we should be reminded that hey, the reason why, you know, that is just to enlighten us or to keep that like history. So what happened last year is like history. So we'll be reminded of what took place there last year. So that history. So what happening here is history that you know would be mentioned at that particular time. Go ahead.
First Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 7. So Alexander reigned 12 years and then died.
Right. So so you see how the time you're in. So that 12 years will be 12 years of his history, where you know the person who going to come on the scene now could enlighten or talk about. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 8. And his servants bear rule, every one in his place.
So everybody who come up underneath him, you know, they would have, let me say, wherever zone or wherever they would be, they would have rule over it. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 9. And after his death, they all pull crowns upon themselves.
Right? So everybody put that crown on their head. Everybody know it's like, yeah, after because like you is the top general, right? And you being the top general, you're gone. Now everybody, again, it show you no brotherhood. It show you no brotherhood. Because now if they had that, what would have happened now? Everybody would have a sense of order. And no, the person just right after would have be the person, you know, to have control. This is how, you know, again, it show you that they can, you know, have or have the full understanding of what it means to rule or to serve. They serve their own desire, their own lust. This is why, again, when the Most High God mentioned, I say, He didn't choose us because, you know, we're few in numbers. The Most High God, you know, had a spirit from the beginning. As you say, when He raised, as you say, man, this man who you're going to raise is a spirit that you're going to do what? You're going to breathe life or give him that breath. To do what? To have the same mindset, just like, you know, like him. The same vibe, same thinking. What you're doing in a situation. They don't have that. This is why every one of them could do what? They put crown on the head. Because you know why? Everybody, what we see happening right now, down in, I would say, Russia and Ukraine, America, UK, in all these places, everybody wants a what? A crown on the head. They do, and all what they're saying, they're not giving any, I would say, true statistics on what is taking place down in, I would say, in Israel. Because everybody will crown on the head. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 9.
Mm-hmm.
And after his death, they all They all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them.
So then who?
So did their sons after them.
Right? It say, I think it was Deuteronomy 4, where it teaches unto their sons, unto their sons. Right? And somewhere in Deuteronomy, that's paraphrasing that. This is so important because now they teach this unto their sons. This is why they can do it today. This is why they can do it today. This is so important for us to be reminded because again, the men that were coming up, they did that, the teachers to their sons, right? This is why the sons could have come up in the same mindset after them, right? Go ahead.
So did their sons after them many years, and evil will multiply in the earth.
And what?
And evil will multiply in the earth.
Right? So we know the scriptures and them is truth. Just as Christ said, ye shall know the truth, and the truth will make you free. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. It multiplies. More wickedness. This is a reign, this is a tenure, this is a time. Go ahead.
Verse 10. And there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes.
So why it say a wicked root? Because now this is part of the family. This is part of the family. This is part of their house. This is why, again, Blacks, Latinos, and Native Indians, we should be dedicated to our family, to our house. When we know our family, I would say, know our history, know our house. We know that, again, our family have a long legacy, I'd say, again, this book, or I'd say, this compilation of books, was for a specific purpose. You see, this would be a stability in the last days. By this making us stable, this being, as we say, to the forefront, as we say to the forefront, as it says in all laws and all instructions, let it be a frontlet, right? The frontlet of your eyes, as we say, on your mind. This should always be on your mind. A reminder to us. These records. Go ahead.
And there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes, son of Antiochus, the king, who had been an hostage at Rome, and he reigned in the 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks.
Right, so he reigned the 137 year because now again, how things again. This was just before, again, our king came on the scene. Just before that, right? Go ahead.
Verse 11. In those days, when they out of Israel wicked men who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathens that are wrong about us.
Imagine you gain instructions way before and like a warning, don't join the people that is wrong about you. Now you pick up, as you say, now just as we read in Ephesians 6 and 12, right? That you wrestle not against flesh and blood, right? But against principalities, against powers, against rulers of wickedness of darkness in high places, against the spirits that again, what we see happening here right now, as I say, it identify them as what? As wicked. I didn't see that. When you join with, again, with these other nations, all the records deem it to be wicked. Because you know why? Don't give your sons unto the daughters. Don't give your daughters unto the sons. Lest they want to turn and they forget me. Yeah, it move away your heart. We see again, just like Jeremiah, man break down into the wild olive tree. Without that again, that class, brothers should and sisters should go and look at that class. Very very enlightening, and it's like a reminder to understand, again, the split of just running after the desire. You could break up a whole household just by running after another nation. So because you're introducing what? That vibe, that spirit into your home, into your family. Why I think the Lord was pleased when the brother trust the javelin true and true. You know what he say? He say, yeah, just the Lord was pleased because why? This is a plague. He say, yeah, just stop a plague in Israel. He say, just stop, he say a plague. Everybody know or understand when some, as you say, the destruction of a plague. We see happen with the coronavirus. That was a plague that could spread. This should be a reminder for us. And time not running, so what you say, winding down, but we will continue on, on this. Let's read a little more. Let's read a little more about Pasha.
For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow.
Right?
Had much sorrow.
Right? Where we learn this from? When you go back in the book of Judges, it highlighted something as well. It say, during some of the generations, there were some that remember the Lord, and that some that forget the Lord. So so Israel needed, I would say, judges amongst them. Imagine we going through a season or time or a phase just by doing what? Not following the instructions of our forefathers. Imagine that. When you really read and you look back at these records, they say, for gold is tried in fire, an acceptable man in the furnace of adversity. It's like when you're looking at it now, and you're putting yourself in different, as we say, in them time, and it's like the Lord, he must form off that, he must shave off that. The king come and set, as you say, set the trend, set the perfect example to show we could shed ourselves at this, as we say, at this. Being the example, as you say, he said, no man come unto me lest the Father draw him. Again, he said, go before the Father, because why? You know that to reach that level of perfection, this is how you're going to shed out. Because you had to watch, it's like this. You're watching yourself in the mirror, that reflection. And you're seeing, hey, if I watch and follow the man or the men before me, as we say, the trendsetter. Again, the first example being our king, a black man from the tribe of Judah. You can know, you know that, hey, the world going to hate you because it first hate me. But here the thing about it, as we say, at the end of it, the benefits is retaining back what you give up for a loss and desire. So you know you're not going to give it up for no loss or desire, because now it's like I letting you know, hey, you can't give me one already. This was already promised to me. How you can give me something was already promised and I say already given to me? Can't do that. So the men that went off here, these men were, as we say, when the time of or say in that generation where we you know run after the way of the heathen, run after the custom of the heathen. Because to mention or to say things like that is like you're actually growing up like how we would. Trinidad is a perfect example of this. I could talk because we here in Trinidad and we see the culture that we have here. We don't want to, move away from the custom. We don't want to, move away from the ways. The Lord going to do what? Going to bring in that position. And this is why, again, the ISUPK and the commanding general here in Trinidad, the Lord, have brothers here for a specific purpose. To make it clear and known to brothers that the importance of, of being dedicated to something. And again, this is why when we read, as you say, read, more about this, and to understand that to be dedicated towards the Lord, as you say, again, he say, fight for me, I'll fight for you. And let's, mention, it's somewhere where I think it's in where in either in Exodus or one of them where the Lord say, fight for me, I'll fight for you. Our fight is to rejuvenate our spirit. And how are we going to rejuvenate our spirit or have it revived? Is by being amongst brothers, being amongst family, and not being proud. And not taking up the ways of the customer, the heathen, they are proud. That pride didn't come just so they say pride is the beginning when one had departed from the Lord. How we had departed from the Lord, and we say we come from our bloodline, as we say our royalty, as serving the Lord. This is why we say the Christian church is like a open pit. Every time we walk, as we say, brothers and sisters, we fall straight down. There are no end. It's like an open pit. The Christian church. As you walk through that door, you fall straight down. No end. It's like you fall in a hole of darkness. And the way out is your brothers. Your brothers letting you know, hey, this is the way out. Your brothers is the light for you to come out of that pit, out of that hole. And you know why? Because this is here in Trinidad is a perfect example. Our brothers falling in that pit, walking in and dropping. And you know what happened? The Lord, as you say, shine that light, our brothers shining that light, and brothers doing what? Making the way out. Brothers could come out. We go stop there, right? Again, you know, this is a reminder for us. This should be a reminder for us, you know, and again, to make it or bring the reminder to this house or this family, right? That the importance of, you know, us, you know, being dedicated or you know, understanding, you know, that what this house should be dedicated to, our life should be, you know, dedicated to the Lord. And the Lord will open up our minds and open up, you know, our I'll say, our spirit to understand what it means to be compassionate to brothers and sisters in this house. And not dedicate ourselves or lives to the heathen or the ways. Because again, we know Christmas is on the verge. They're playing Palm Tune since July. Palm Tune playing since July, and again, nothing wrong with the music. It's the spirit behind the music with a push, because all the music that is being sung is predominantly is brothers and sisters. So it's like we in our festive time. So imagine you directing, you as you say, just like you read wicked men. How you can teach your brother to eat some that is not as you say, not good for consumption. When you have instructions telling you about, as you say, what good to eat and what whole dietary law. Again, you know, just a reminder for brothers and sisters, you know, December 14th, right? Sundown, right? We will be again inviting brothers and sisters again. Eats and drink will be provided. As I say, that brothers asking, hey, where's the course? Yeah, no course to come here. The course would be you removing yourself from a way that suppress you to coming into a place where where you know you will understand, you know, what it means to be free of that oppression. Rejuvenating your mind, rejuvenating your spirit, because the principalities and the powers that be, they would love to continue to suppress the spirit or to keep the spirit down. They would love to do that. But the Lord has watchmen, not the one that would leave the gate open, but as watchmen that would, you know, be on the lookout, on the watch, to make you know or to remind you that there's a time that is going to come where the Lord is going to bring this house or this family back together. And for you to be revived or rejuvenated, then there's an opportunity. Wise, you know, the Lord is on his, I say, is being in many councils right now and pleading for him to return to revive us. Again, this is the ISUPK Trinidad and Tobago under Commanding General Yana. Again, bringing the reminder to this house, to this family, the importance of us, you know, being, you know, dedicated and remembering what our forefathers stood for and fight for in the time of many wars, that they would come up against us to suppress us. The Lord being with us, and again, we know this is not the Christian church. Don't feel you can run up just so, making it clear, making it known. Men stood for this. Men who we read about, died for this truth, to protect this truth. This is what our King had made clear to the men who follow him, follow after him, who follow the instructions of the Lord. The Lord is a man of war. When we go to war, there would be, let me say, consequences. There would be casualties. So if my father is a man of war, this is spirit. I have a spirit for war and right to defend what? This truth. To defend righteousness. What is right? To bring back order. Because again, he said the whole earth is out of order. Right? So again, this is a reminder for us. Right? Right? So again, we pass the class, the priest and officer Michael.
This is the ISUPK security announcements. We are the ISUPK out of 1 West on 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under command in General Hunt. New rules for brothers and sisters. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to share themselves of the word. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to the brother or sister. Yes, another 6 months, which the brother or sister will court each other. After the 6-month period, the brother or sister will get permission from the head to marry, which is a commandment. You find it in Numbers chapter 18 and verse 21, Malachi chapter 3 verses 8 to 10. Means 10th in the Hebrew and is pronounced Mizra. 10% of every penny which the Lord gives you, give to the treasury department or teacher. Preach fund, not mandatory, whatsoever amount you would like to give. Upcoming Holy Convocation. The upcoming Holy Convocation is the Feast of Dedication, known as Hanukkah, which is the 25th day, the 9th month on the Hebrew calendar by the space of 8 days. This will be Sunday, the 14th December 2025. You can find this in 1 Maccabees, chapter 4, verses 52 to 61. Remind Archiman at Waki to check on social media, such as ISUPK.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and so on for ISUPK events and materials. If a brother wants to be a trooper in the school, then he is to start wearing all black, which includes black boots, like shirt, like headband or scarf. And with that, we see Immanuel. We're going to turn, sir, we're going to turn and face the east. We're going to begin with the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew. Abana, Shemaya, Padash, Haya, Shamka, Yahweh, Malaka, Baat, Matazaka, Haya, Aisha, Baratiza, Hawa, Haya, Mashemaya, the Kong, Ka, Yawan,
Masalak now, Kawat now, Kasalak now, Kawat now, Wala, Tabenawa, Sawan, Ball. Shine now, Mayon, Rai, Kaya, Aka, Amalakwa, Ala, Artaparan, Iwalamium, Aman. In the English, O Father, shout in heaven, hallowed be thy name, Power, thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors, and lead us not into temptation, deliver us from evil. Thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be it.
So be it. Sir, men and women, let's give the teacher a 156 salute. Madam Shabak, Mali, right? How about Shabak?
Yahweh Hashem Shabbatam.
Sir, let's give the sisters online a 156 salute. Madam Shabak, Mali, right?
Yahweh Shemalatan Ba'ashem Ashai.
Sir,
Just want to big up the sisters, Sister Yakwa, Nazam, and I think Kyle Wana, right? Big up the sisters and them, you know, to